are you doing personally to change that? Because I know you're involved in so many different things, aren't you?
So in the Houses of Parliament, there are committees, equalities committees, and I'm elected on the one that represents race and cultural heritage. We do loads. We launch new policies. We have reverse mentoring schemes where a young person from a non-white background mentors a senior member of management in the Houses of Parliament who's from a white background. There are so many schemes. There's leadership schemes in the Houses of Parliament. There's targeted training. There's outreach, parliamentary outreach as well. So there's a lot to get more ethnic minorities in Parliament.
Can I ask kind of, I hope this is not going to be too much of a, you know, a kind of obvious question, but do you see race when you're walking in Parliament? You do.
110%.
Do you feel like a young black?
100%.
Why?
And a lot more needs to be done. Number one, obviously, it's not that diverse, so you definitely do notice.
You stick out.
You definitely do notice that, yeah. I suppose the term that a lot of academics have used is hyper-visible, and I completely understand that, and I do feel it, and I do experience it, and things do need to change. I talk about these schemes, but there needs to be improvement, and there does need to be something in place that speeds up the process.
I can imagine young viewers watching you and thinking, God, I'd want to be like this lady. How did you manage to get into it?
I'm really not from a political background at all. My family aren't really engaged in politics. But in terms of race and equality, that's my core passion. That's the only reason why I even got involved in politics, is because I'm passionate about race equality. I see racism. I'm from Nottingham originally, which isn't that diverse either. And I knew that I wanted to do something to encourage race equality.
And you're doing that now, aren't you? You're a Cambridge alumni, and I think most people that are up to date with what goes on in Cambridge, because it can be seen as quite elitist, not just Cambridge, but Oxbridge. And there was a huge story when one of the students said, you know, she's doing literature, but there's not enough African literature. And surprisingly, there was a backlash. But surely there isn't enough African literature in syllabuses, not just in the best universities, but right down to primary school.
Absolutely. So we're seeing a huge kind of movements across the UK, actually, from students now. The Why is My Curriculum White movement and other similar campaigns.
What was that one you mentioned?
So students are very conscious that, again, their reading lists, the texts they're being asked to read are predominantly works by white, male, possibly dead authors, and they are conscious that this really doesn't kind of reflect them, their realities. It's not reflective of literature generally. They know that there needs to be a change. So this has been a very kind of strong voice coming out from the student body over the last few years. And in Cambridge as well, Lola Olufemi was leading this movement, whereby she was looking very particularly at the reading list on offer for people studying English literature. Now, even though I think the guidelines that are set out is that the literature should be written in the English language, but that obviously then encompasses literature from across the globe. And in schools, in universities, there's still very much a tendency for the curriculum to play it very, very safe in terms of just sticking very much with white European authors. And it's encouraging to see that children and young people are speaking out about this, but we also need to know, what can we do on a practical level to change this?
Of course, because as we've discussed, this is what encourages you, doesn't it? Teresa, you said you were raised in Nigeria. Yes. What's the Nigerian literature syllabus like?
Nigerian literature syllabus, we study, you know, literature from all over the world.
Wow.
You know, which is why I think it's important, especially in the UK, for African literature to not be isolated, but also included here. So, yeah, we studied Shakespeare, studied Chinua Achebe, we studied a wide range. The only thing was there weren't enough women poets, for example, in the syllabus. So that's still something that is a conversation there. But as Joanna said, I think that there definitely needs to be an inclusion of African literature in the UK syllabus.
Is there a problem with TV and black representation?
Yeah, I think that there's not enough positive, to be honest. I think that we're always the drug dealer. We're always portrayed as the negative, and for sure that's why we need to create more platforms for them to see different versions of themselves.
Who are you looking up to on British television that
of,
looks like you? Is there anybody now?
Do you know what? Honestly, there's not. We tend to look to America, don't we?
Yeah,
I feel like things are changing in England. I feel like in the rap scene and the film scene, people like Tasha stepping up. I feel like London, England really stepping up.
I know.
But growing up, it would have helped to see people who look like you, who still, how can I put this, and still stay true to their culture.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Careful. People that seem to get there don't seem to stay true to their culture, so then I don't relate.
But then also as well, Lola, it's about that main stage, isn't it? It's about putting blacks at the centre in main parts. For example, earlier this year, for the first time in 50 years, the Royal Shakespeare Company gave the role of Hamlet to a black actor. Do we need more black actors and actresses being pushed to the main stage, not being in the backing choruses in kind of the jukebox plays in the theatre, but main stage present, not just in African productions?
We do, absolutely 100% we do. And one of the things that I really like about Femi Oguns, who is the founder of Identity Drama School.
Shout out to Femi Oguns again.
I hope to work with you soon, actually. Like, he's doing the most in trying to encourage the actors in the drama school to think beyond, to think above and beyond, you know,
not
maybe
just black roles.
Exactly.
We can be 007. I think there was a big discussion earlier about Dreamgirls and the and you, that scene.
That was good. Give us.
Was that good?
Go more.
I'll keep going. We'll talk about that after. But, you know, there was a big furore because they were saying that the lead singer was going to be played by a white woman. And blacks were saying, no, it's not possible. It's too synonymous with a black actress and you've got to get that, you know, that rhythm out of you. But we can't have it both ways. There's got to be some things that are kind of open-minded, whether it's for blacks or for whites. You must have seen that over your year.
Yeah, over the years, but I would like to say, again, you know, Ira Aldridge, he played Othello, he played King Lear, and he is the most decorated classical Shakespearean actor of all time. He won over 300 awards. He was on first name basis with royalty right away across Europe. You know, he played in Madrid, in Poland, in Spain, in Russia. There's a statue.
Tell me he was a black man.
Yes, of course. He was an African American.
Yeah.
They gave him hassle in America. He came over here and smashed it down. But like I say, we kind of keep repeating ourselves. We've already done this. And then there's Paul Robeson, you know, who played Othello. So I think to add to the momentum, we need to understand also what has happened in the past. So we can't, you know, we're going off Hamlet. But I would also like to say that we have our own African Hamlets. We have our own James Bonds. We have our own masses and masses of stories.
As in our own stories.
Our own stories. So why can't we why can't you not have our own James Bond? We've got so many amazing stories, like from Sierra Leone.
So do you think that's too much of an emphasis then, Lola? Do you think we emphasise too much on wanting these pro-West or kind of English,
Please
white
say yes.
Accolades? Let me just bring in John Legend. He's now an EGOT. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. And a lot of people were celebrating, and a lot were saying, so what? Why are you celebrating this? Why are we always craving? Why does it have to be, oh my God, he's the first black to do this? Why can't we just celebrate our own achievements? Is there something in that?
Well, I believe with recognition comes more opportunities, and the reason why we celebrate it so much, especially within the black community, is because it's very rare. It's not like it happens every single day.
John Legend was the first.
Exactly, he was the first, and it's quite sad that we have to celebrate that, being in this day and age, but we have to, because we need to let people know that we are talented, we are gifted, and we can do just as much as anything that you can do as well. It's just due to the fact that what we have been through as a people, you know, it's very reflective in society still today. And that's why when things like this happen, we have to say, do you know what, well done to you, because in this day and age, really, for that to have happened, there's something happening, there's a change.
There's definitely something happening.
What you find, Britain is diverse, but people live within their social circles, and not many people travel across social strata.
They live in Brixton. Yeah. They don't live in Brixton.
I mean, they don't travel across like racial and social strata. And so what you end up is that people live in their isolated experiences. And so because the people that make the decisions tend to be white and middle class, mostly male, they don't really know black people and they don't understand black culture. Yeah. And so, you know, when the Intent 2 is funded by Island Records. It's a record label.
Yes.
They don't fund movies. But the reason we ended up going with Island Records was because they were the only people that understood the value of our proposition. I would go into meetings all the time trying to explain to people in film, which is like the most white industry ever. Like literally every single distribution company in this country, and there's not one, I've met a paralegal and 2 black receptionists, and everyone else that I've met.
Shocking.
I've been to everyone's office, actual fact. I've been to every single, from your Lionsgate to Studio Canal to Vertigo to, I can name check all of them. And absolutely, you go into their office, there's either no person of color whatsoever, or there's a receptionist, or I met a paralegal at Studio Canal that was helping out with a deal I was doing over there. So at the end of the day, there aren't diverse people behind the scene.
Gosh.
And so there's no way there's going to be diverse people on screen.
This is serious.
Unless they feel sorry for the cause, or that there's a reason, or they're put under pressure to do it. I don't even think the people in power...
A want or a desire.
Don't even think.
Or they're not even...
It's not even in their paradigm to
Do you know, gosh, this is deep. Femi, you arrived on Noni. I love this kind of chat, and you've got to come on and talk more about this. Would you water it down? If they said, yeah, we love it, but, add a couple of white characters here or less of that kind of talk, would you do it?
To be honest with you, I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it, but...
You would do it.
You know what it is? Do you know what
All of us would do it, but that's what we have to do sometimes.
Yeah, I understand, but I feel like, the show is fine the way it is, and,
Of course, and that's testament to its success. Esther, go on.
Yeah, I feel like if I was in this position, I wouldn't want to, because this is our representation of our London. This represents us black people in the UK. We have a lot of white shows to put out there that represent, there's the whole controversy about Love Island, how they don't put enough black people in there. They haven't changed that. So why should we now water down our show so that we can fit into, what they want? No, let's stand together. Look at the intent. It's done really well. Do you know what I mean? I would call that a black predominantly, a black show.
A black
film, exactly. So I feel like if we stand, it's all in time. We will get there. We might get there slower than at a slower pace than we want to, but I feel like eventually we'll get there. But I feel like we should stand together and not water it down.
Do you know, that's a good point, Esther, and I'm sure many would share that with you.
My Lynn, that's like my closest friend, and she's a lighter skinned female, so I see it firsthand. Like I'm with her
when you go out,
when we go out a lot. When it comes to actually opportunities, people like directors have slid in her DMs and said, "Oh, we want you to read for this film." And she's like, "I don't act though." And they're like, "Oh, doesn't? Oh, yeah, we just want you to come in to read it." She's literally been, "Oh, my friend Z, she acts. She can come in and read for it." "Oh, no, we just want you to come in." And this is like, I'm hearing it and seeing it firsthand. So when people are like, "Oh, you're in your feelings," like, this is not made up in my mind. Like, I roll with someone that is of a lighter skin tone.
This is actually happening. And from Hollywood down to the back streets of the East End, we all know that, it happens. But what about people that say, that's just my preferences? I like light-skinned girls, or, I want a light-skinned girl for this role. Is that not okay?
Boring.
When it comes to the media industry, I feel like people in power have that opportunity and also have, how can I say, that kind of commitment to kind of showcase different shades of black women. And it's not about preference when it comes to work. It's about, can you do the job?
Yeah.
That's all I want to hear. Like, if you want to, if the woman is amazing and she's of a lighter complexion, perfectly fine. But what I've been seeing lately, like, for example, in a lot of books, people are kind of reenacting the books, making them into movies. And you know that the main actress or actor is black, dark skin. Do you know what I mean? And they're not enhancing that. Instead,
like Zoe Saldana, she was in what's that biopic? Nina Simone, and people are like, come on, this is just ridiculous.
And you made her look darker. What the hell? Just get a dark one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and she was unapologetic about it. Yeah. Gifty, do you think you were portrayed as being an angry black woman?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like, obviously, my name being called out, okay, I'm going home, that's fine. But in that present moment, I didn't feel like smiling. In that present moment, I don't feel like smiling because I wasn't in the mood to smile, because I don't feel like I deserve to go home at that moment. Yeah. I feel like maybe 1 more week or 2 weeks, but I don't feel like I deserve to go home at that moment.
You were shocked?
I was shocked, unfortunately. Already, I have like a resting bitch face, people call it. My face is always straight, and that's not me being angry or upset about anything, it's just my face is naturally straight. So in that moment, I just had no emotions. I was just there like, okay.
That's really interesting. You spoke in the first half and you said that producers told you in week 3 that you should perhaps soften the music. Some would say that you were being produced, although when you've come out of the show, you've realised that actually that wasn't me being produced. They wanted to change the viewer's perception of me. Like, what about Hollywood? You know, Walter, you've got your experience, and I'd really love to hear it. You know, there's a lady, a British lady, black actress called London Hughes. She actually put a message on social media, ranting and raving about going over to LA and being in pilot season, just the way she was treated and the way she felt. And she did say, for women out there, for people of colour, for dreamers, for everyone, Hollywood is inclusive. Do you agree with that? And let's have your honest experience, because we know Hollywood isn't literally the land of dreams, but it is perceived to be, because so many of our stars are going out there and making it.
Well, you have to, because I think it's the mecca of all film for the whole world in general. So anyone, wherever you are, if you want to succeed or if you feel you've reached the pinnacle, you have to go to Hollywood, and then you have to starve it out. But I think it's hard enough for white people in Hollywood talk less of someone else of color. I'll give you an example. My old flatmate used to be in The Bill. He used to play, his name was T.J. Ramini. He played Zayn Nadir, and he has olive skin, let's put it that way. So over here in England, he's a white guy. And he was always, we would go out and he'd always be the white guy. The minute he went to Hollywood, this is someone who just has olive skin, he looks Mediterranean. He was now cast as, the terrorist, and he was complaining. And I used to say to him, but you're one step higher than everyone else. So think about what the blacks would be going through.
But do you think, for me, that black women are over-sexualized, and some white men, some black men also, Asian men, see black women purely as sex objects? You know, they can be racist. There are some countries, some people even say, gosh, don't go there, it's so racist. But, if you was to offer sex on the plate, they'd take it.
I mean, I do think a lot of men in general over-sexualize the black woman, and I can't say I blame them, to be honest, because when you look on the TV, when you look on social media, that's all we see these days, where we're seeing women, celebrities kind of glamorize the whole big bust.
Some of the reality shows as well, we all know them.
It's all we see. So can we blame men if they're being brainwashed to an extent where they're now over-sexualizing us?
See, that's quite interesting. So in a way, you're kind of saying we shouldn't blame a guy for thinking that.
I don't want to say I agree, but just in hindsight, it is that way, because look at now in social media, let's just say the top trending people right now are Nicki Minaj, are Cardi B. Because of that argument, fine. It's almost like Nicki Minaj glorified that whole, derriere surgery. It's almost like she put it on the map. And that's what we're known for. Music videos, we've got all the
They all look the same. Before it was usually like white women with that blonde hair type, but now black women all look the same on social media.
They do. And it's like, you'll see that some certain fashion brands have now, they notice that there's a market.
Fashion Nova, thank you. Even Pretty Little Thing have bigger women now.
Her collection, so there definitely is a market.
There's a market.
The idea behind the show, it was very intentional. Season 1, in fact, we got a lot of reviews saying, oh, y'all didn't make it dramatic enough. So I'm standing in my truth saying, I'm sorry, it's not for you. Go watch the other thing. Don't watch mine. Please don't watch mine. So in season 2, yes, some conflicts come up, but like we're saying, it's not like the crazy stuff. So my goal is to uplift, and this is not a scripted thing I'm saying now, is to uplift the black woman as much as I can with my platform. So we have enough reality series bringing us down. Let mine be the one that shows us as smart women, that shows us as business women, that shows us as people with culture, as moms. So that's the goal behind mine, and I hope that the audience can see it.
And I hope people do find that entertaining, and some would. Like I said, I like Real Housewives of New York City. I am far from Ramona Singer, but when I see her in a Parkview, suite, I'm like, yes, one day. And it's not just because of the drama, though I do like it, And there have been some positives for you, haven't there, Esther?
Definitely. There's always positives. Where there's negatives, there's also positives. The fact that, I'm influencing a even if it's a handful of women that feel like they can relate to me and feel like my story has touched them, for me, that's what it tells me that I'm doing something right and I should continue on the journey. You know, not everybody's going to take to you. That's the world that we live in. And, you know, and at the end of the day, all you can do is stay true to yourself and just keep it 100. And that's all I'm doing. And you'll be surprised, like, the amount of women, like, I'm always like, wow, like, the fact that I was even able to start a business is an example of where
Still
it
waiting
can
on
be
that
success. You know, it can be successful. You're going to get it. I'm going to get it.
I want to say something really quickly because I think it's important. I feel like people are limited to what they see and what's available to them. When rappers first started rapping, when we were girls, it was always thuggish. Today we have Chance the Rapper rapping gospel stuff. He won Academy Awards. We have T.I. and all these people changing the trajectory of what they used to rap about. So people are watching the trashy stuff because that's what we have. If more people create shows like Real Ninja Ladies of Dallas and other positive shows where there's a little bit of argument here because it's
enough drama to keep them
but not nasty to bring you down. I feel more people will get tired of the trashy stuff and focus on the more positive.
Well, that's great. I think you need to work on a series together, ladies, with me as the main cast member.
Real Ninja Ladies of London. Coming through.